Today, we're going to be making apple pies, and this is a recipe from a very old cookbook that Dad slightly changed, kind of tweaked it a few years ago to give it the texture and taste that we enjoy. So we're adding 6 cups of flour because we're going to double this recipe. This recipe is only to make 1 pie. We're going to make 2 today. Now at the end of the video, I'm going to have a screenshot of the recipe. So watch the entire video, go to the end, and just screenshot it with your phone, and you have the recipe. This is the first time Dad's using this sifter, and look what happens.
Turn.
So you've seen what happened, tapping the side. I mean, it's only just, lodged on there. It's not even snapped on. So when he was tapping, of course, the weight is in the bottom, is going to fall out. But you know what? Stuff happens. No, not a big deal. Glad it was him, not me.
That's not funny. Accidents happen.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Now, one of the beautiful ingredients, and it is a beautiful ingredient for this recipe, and you'll hear a lot of people talk about their flaky pie crust. Ours don't get that flaky. If you have any ideas, we can change this recipe to get more of a flaky crust. Please let me know. But we use shortening. We use a little bit of butter, but it's mostly shortening. And a lot of people that have those amazing pie crusts, they'll tell you they use shortening.
2 teaspoons of salt.
When it comes to sodium, when it comes to salt, you'll notice in a lot of our videos when we're adding salt, we'll say we're not going to add this much. If it calls for whatever, we're going to cut back on it. And I know salt brings out a lot of the flavor in a lot of different recipes, but we also want to lower our sodium content as much as possible. A lot of people, when it comes to salt beef and their Jig's dinner, they don't even soak their salt meat. We soak our salt meat. So the next day, it's soaked overnight. We'll drain the water, soak it again for a few hours. So we're taking a lot of that sodium out of the meat. And a lot of people don't do that. And that's great, it's up to you. But we don't like a lot of salt. And we're actually at the point now where we're used to more low sodium meals than what we used to have years ago. So a lot of times Mom will say, well, I'm not going to add that much salt. A lot of times I don't add much salt to a lot of my foods.
Salt, you say? I'm not going to put all the salt in there.
2.
Yeah, I'm not putting 2 in there. So the salt.
Oh, Julian.
I know it's getting on your nerves to sit on the floor like that.
It's just
You're
getting
such
to
a
me.
mother.
I know.
Ah.
You got to get that sweat though. It's killing them. See it there.
Now we got the flour, the salt, the sugar, the baking powder. Give me 12 tablespoons of water.
So when it comes to actually making the pie crust, the dough, when you got your hands in there and you're kneading it, then you're rolling it out. If you make pie crust, I want to know, can you overwork it? And I think we overworks it. And I need to know when the pie crust kind of goes hard, tough, is it because we overworked it? And when it goes to that type of consistency, how do we bring it back? Do we just add more moisture and work it a little? We need to know more about the handling of the dough, the process of kneading the dough. And if you have any suggestions, we appreciate it, because we actually want to make this crust even better. It's right now to our liking, but we like to have it more flaky. So if you have any suggestions, please let us know. We want to make this pie crust even better. So when it came to the actual filling, now last year when we did our pies, and we have a video of that, Mom didn't boil the apples. She put it, Dad wanted it right in the pie. It was good, really good, don't get me wrong, but me and Mom prefer them boiled softened. We like them that a little bit of softness to it, not not the hardness like we had last year, which was great, great pies. So when we put them in the pot, we added a little bit of water. So we probably used about 2 dozen apples from our tree out back. Now these apples are small and smaller, you know what I mean. They're not the big apples, so we used about 2 dozen. Sliced them up into chunks, you know, put them in the pot. Added enough water in the bottom, not a lot, just enough where they wouldn't stick onto the pot. We didn't want to overdo it. And the sugar and cinnamon is to taste. So that's a little bit difficult to give an amount because it's for taste. And if you like a lot of cinnamon, if you like a lot of sugar, if you like it really sweet, not so sweet, a little tartness with your apples. So that's all to do with your preference. First time you make them, go by the recipe, and then you can adjust it afterwards. Oh, that was too sweet, not sweet enough, a little more cinnamon, too much cinnamon. That's how you do it. Sometimes it's better off if you just stay in bed. Really. I mean, he dropped the flour, and now it is not only on the shelf, but on that metal corner, which would be the absolute worst place you could bump your head. I'm sorry, but come on. It was funny. I kind of had to lower the volume there because he used a lot of choice words, so we had to cut that out a little bit there. We don't want to go too far with the language, but yeah, he kind of had enough of it after that, and he kind of gave up, and that's why I got back into it and helped out with the dough. Plus the dough got pretty tough, so we had to add more liquid to soften it up again. But yeah, when you're having that kind of a day, it's just as well to give up and walk away from it, because who knows what else is going to happen, and it's usually gets worse each time. We've all been there. So what we're doing here, we're adding more moisture back into the dough. I don't know if this is the correct way of doing it. Please let me know. We're new at pies. We've only been doing it for a few years. We're very new. So I was adding more liquid back into the dough, then adding more flour, kind of trying to work with it more, and it did work. So let me know if we overworked it and the results of overworking it, because I honestly believe that we really do overwork our pie crust. I honestly believe that. And please educate me on what happens when you do it, the type of dough it's going to be, and can you bring it back from that? How to get a flakier dough? Give me some tips. I really need your tips, because we will try that in our next pies, because we're going to be making some meat pies later on too. So we want to perfect this crust because it tastes perfect. It's a perfect crust except for the flakiness and the lightness. We kind of want to lighten it up more, and I think the results of overworking it is making it more dense. Father do love making his pie crust. He really do, and that's why it's so hard for him to just stand back. This is something that he takes pride in, because this is his recipe that he kind of perfected. It's old Newfoundland pie crust recipes. There's several different ones that he kind of took the best of each one, put it into one to get us what we got today. And it's hard for him to stand back and watch someone else take credit for an amazing pie when it turns out, because it usually always turns out beautifully. Great taste, fillings are great, so it's very difficult for Dad kind of stand back and someone else say, oh, I made that pie. No, Dad made the pie. So that's why he had to get his hands back into it. You can see the beautiful golden color of this pie crust, so you can understand why we love this recipe so much. These are new pie pans that Mom got. They're not metal, they're actually this stoneware. So we're kind of worried about how we're going to get it out. And it actually worked out perfect. Put a rack on the top of it, flipped it over, and it came out perfectly. The best part is slicing into a nice warm apple pie. Now, Dad admitted that he should have the pie crust. He cuts it right around the rim off the pie pan. He admitted he should let it come up higher and kind of fold it in and connect the top. This apple pie, guys, the crust is amazing. Look at that crust. Can you see that? The filling. We love a lot of filling in our pies. Cinnamon with apple, the best. Beautiful, beautiful. Nothing better. If you enjoy like baked goods, doing your own pies, check out our preserves, our rhubarb relish right over here, because we're actually thinking about doing a rhubarb pie. Who knows what we're going to add in with the rhubarb to give it a better, sweeter taste. Maybe some strawberries. Who knows? Go check out our rhubarb relish, and we'll see you in our next video.